Hello, hello. Hopefully, you all have had an amazing week. It is a Four of Diamonds week, and excuse me if there's anything in the background, because there's a party where I am today. Um, Four Diamonds week. Four Diamonds. So yeah, there's a Four of Diamonds, and the Four of Diamonds is actually. I'm trying to turn my camera on. There you go. All right, we're in the room. We're playing Whisperer. You know what's funny? I watched Tesla and Figaro. Is she a Four of Diamonds? No, she's a Two of Diamonds. But she called herself the Hood Whisperer. And actually, I was just looking at that. And as you know, the Two of Diamonds goes into politics. Um, if you have not seen your Two of Diamonds, go back and watch that. And then I want you to go and look up Tesla and Figaro and see how those two things apply. Two of Diamonds actually is somewhat similar to the Four of Diamonds as far as the Saturn. Um, well, all most of the diamonds sit in Saturn, but sitting in the Saturn line. Okay, for the Two of Diamonds, for the Four of Diamonds, it goes from Saturn Venus to Neptune Venus. So it still has the Venus concepts. Goes into romance, and all the things that we find pleasing within life, and all the things that we desire as well. And what is interesting this week, one of the things that caught my eye about the this week was David Shan's podcast, and he sit down and was talking with Jay Hill, I believe that's his name, and he was talking about happiness. You know, what makes a person happy, and what is your goal in life, and when do someone feel, I guess you could say, fulfilled, you know, or satisfaction. One of the key highlights from that podcast was when Jay Hill was referencing that he doesn't feel satisfied just being in the room. And I feel like that was important for me to hear, and also important for the Four of Diamonds as well. He also goes into the fact that he's a Gemini, you know, so that can goes into a sense of not being satisfied or dissatisfaction, which sometimes we can get a bad rap for that, right? Um, um, Being Debbie Downers and threes sometimes aren't as something goes through points of depression, and having to be optimistic. So the optimism kind of hits a point of a, a peak at some point, and then there's a point of dissatisfaction or not being optimistic with something not being manifested, you know, within seconds, and having to be patient. So why is that important to the Four of Diamonds? Because the Four of Diamonds sits in Venus Neptune, you know, so love, relationships, also displaces the Five of Spades. Okay, so there's a sense of restlessness for the Four of Diamonds, and within the Five of Spades, restlessness within relationships, maybe within work. I also put um, the thumbnail as progressive, a week of progressive changes for the Four of Diamonds, and that's, if you know the Four of Diamonds, somewhat of a motivational statement to do something with the restlessness that they have, but also there's a fear because they want stability as well. So there's a balance that has to be met within the Four of Diamonds, also within that energy. So you want to be progressive. You want to do something with your restless energy of not being satisfied, and you want to do and make changes, be progressive in some type of way. And I also related that to the presidential elections or this week, and also seeing any candidates that can come, because there's stability that is valued within the Four Diamonds as well. It's one of those things where spirit and matter comes together, and there's stability, because there's a goal that is sought. There's a certain amount of desire and satisfaction out of work. But I also, again, I related that to the presidential campaigns, also because of the King of Spades and Pluto. Whenever you're looking at spades, it looks to perfection, God, or a head of state, right? So before I go on and on, hello everyone. Let me welcome you to the card table. Right now, my fellow co-hosts, they're not here or with me at this moment. I will have to leave a little bit early, 15 after the next hour, as well. They may be joining a little bit before that. This week has been the Four of Diamonds, and going over the Four of Diamonds and what does that mean. And it's a card of values, So standing on stable values, it sits, and there's a restless nature that comes with that particular card as well. Four of Diamonds is beauty, perfection. I also look at it as a card. If it's not creating something, it's earning its keep. You know, so that's why I says, through that dissatisfaction and that restless energy, you want to do something with it. You have to earn your keep. It's a card that's, if you know this person, or the energy, it's a card that can depend on its beauty. And it can depend on things that's given. But it's like building your castle on unsturdy sand, for it to be swept away. Without a stable values, without solid values, without a common goal, nothing is really built out of the Four of Diamonds, if it doesn't put forth the hard work and effort to build the stable foundation of values, or out of the desires that it actually want. You know, let me show you the spread as well. So, like I said, I always don't want to just feel like I'm just talking without giving you a visual. Again, excuse me if you hear the music in the background. Seems to be a party outside. I actually have a lot of Four of Diamonds in my family as well. You know what's I also look at the Four of Diamonds around family. What's interesting about the Four of Diamonds is pushed by the Four of Hearts. So when you look at a family and you ask yourself, what is that family values based on? It's funny because I was just kind of having this conversation last night with a family member. Unfortunately, there's been a lot of things going on as far as within my family, and the foundation of my family was a Four of Diamonds. She was the person that kind of kept the family together. She instilled strict values within the family. You know, um, and she was a condemning spirit as far as holding someone accountable. Four of Diamonds also has a King of Spades and Pluto, so that's also a perfectionist. That's a very spiritual card. The Four of Diamonds has to have also within their base their values of spirituality. There's without that spiritual concept and physical matter, like I said, there's no solid foundation that card or that energy is built upon. Um, just and if you have any questions about the Four of Diamonds, do ask, please. Let me see. 1 second. Oh, I'm over looking around like I'm looking for. I'll read a passage out of. Let me see. Sacred Symbols, one of my favorite ones. Arnie Lynn is one of the most expensive books traditionally. I have seen certain price changes happen with this book in competition with Amazon, who has it priced around $1,000 in certain locations. I do have those particular books pinned in the comments, not in the comments, in the description section of the videos a lot of time, or you can go to cardologylife.com to access these books as well. I have everything pretty much priced at its competitive price. Or if you see anything that's priced the same, just let me know. I may also give you a discount if you have any questions. But let me also go through the comments while this loads up, see if you all have any questions. Mike, what's going on? Appreciate everyone that comes in and views every week as well. I know you can have a lot of things that you do with your time, and to spend it here with me, I really appreciate it. So I know a lot of times if you're new to this particular principle or the science, what I'm speaking about, again, is the energy of the week, how it relates to certain things that I may see around my life, examples around my life, examples through different people, what the energy speaks to as far as the birthday and the pattern. So we live, actually, that's another example of Four of Diamonds. The belief that you learn through life through your experiences. The Six of Clubs sits Mars for the Four of Diamonds. So it doesn't feel, or the energy bases its life and the things that's built around it, not just based upon the books or just common philosophies, because that's also going to help the Four of Diamonds later on with the Ten of Clubs and Uranus. Okay, so it doesn't base life just based upon what is read. It's also based upon what it has experienced and takes those and writes those experiences down to be lessons for other people later on. Okay, so through your trials and tribulations, that is also one of the staples of the Four Diamonds, is to overcome all things that are difficult through your trials and tribulations, and to seek victory, understanding, through concepts of value, spirituality, and seeking power as well. It is another card, like I said, that has four, right? Which is matter and spirit. So with both of those, without both of those, there's no solid foundation and there's no overcoming your obstacles or gaining or no gaining of understanding. Other things that you are that you're obstructed with, things that are become obstacles in your life, just becomes that much more worse without a solid foundation. Like I said, understanding of spiritual concepts and the understanding of matter. Okay. So a lot of times fours could have health issues as well. So someone says, it's been a tough week. A lot of people, I believe that's why. Can you discuss this? Yeah. So, I mean, do you understand what I'm saying so far? Or have you seen that why it has been a tough week? Like I said, the Four of Diamonds is overcoming obstacles. I appreciate it, Nick. The Four of Diamonds, this theme is overcoming obstacles. Another example of that is four people here, right? Another example of that, through that conversation, also with my family, we spoke about health difficulties as well. Okay, so with a lot of Four of Diamonds, like I said, understanding the essence of spirit and matter, I think a lot of times the King of Spades and God and our purpose of life and coming here is to understand spirit and matter. How those two things relate. I don't think that metaphysical principles are separate from the principles that we walk with, or how matter is formed, or how God created matter. Those two things are inseparable, and your understanding of that. So it's like you eating food, to understand what this food is, you have to understand the matter, what it's made of, the material value of this physical thing in front of you, right? But also, what does it do for you spiritually, mentally, for your emotions, for your health, so to understand the difficulties, that you face, you must understand the how to help yourself or heal yourself through those particular contexts of spiritual discipline and material discipline, or understanding the things that surround you. So a lot of times, Four of Diamonds can go into health. They can go into everything that they use may not be by hand or be built. It's also understanding the spiritual essence of hard work and patience as well, right? The spiritual concept of time, um, putting something in the ground, watching it grow, the essence of those particular concepts. How do they relate? What is these seasons that we live through? When is it the right time to plant something in the ground, right? Um, all of those concepts, to have higher understanding, to have a king of spades, which is God, is that's what the king of spades is the perfectionist, is someone that has knowledge beyond, the train of thought, is a lot of times is intuitive knowledge as well. That comes from the king of spades, but it's the understanding of all, so they say God is everywhere, so the king of spades can have the ability with concentration and hard work to gain understanding of whatever it focuses its mind onto. And that's also another thing, right? For the king, Four of Diamonds, important. Sitting Venus, Neptune, it can be pretty, it can be light, it can be lovely, um, ditzy a little bit. So you can get lazy in that energy as well. A lot of times they can stay on the job, don't seek to um, gain any higher positions, maybe within work or within their workplace, may get comfortable as well, or get stuck in their rut at times, or may go into long occasions where they may lose their job or go into unemployment, right? But like I said, with concentration, focus, and discipline, they're able to overcome all obstacles, and understanding, like I say, things from a spiritual, metaphysical, understanding that things have cycles. That's another thing David shares in what was important. Like I said, understanding the spiritual concepts. I don't know if my last example was good, but this example is good. I promise I got you. So he was saying that another reason that how he gets happiness out of his life is understanding the cycles of time. Just understanding that there's times of great um, pleasure, of that you will have great times in business, family, relationships, but also understanding there's cycles in time where there's going to be death, famine, destruction, within those times. And maybe if you can't be happy, but finding something that you value to get you through those times, right? So even with eating the fruit, or eating the fruit, you can have the perfect diet, right? The perfect diet, eating all the fruit, all the vegetables, but still be unhappy inside. So that doctor that's treating you on a material level, or your matter, your physical body, it's going to be kind of hard for him to diagnose you being unhappy, and that may be triggering you to be off hormonally inside, right? So it's like a Four of Diamonds has to look at the material and the spiritual essence of a person, or what's wrong with you, to seek a wise solution, right? So I also stated that this is the Four of Diamonds is the card of solutions, where you overcome your obstacles or your problems by finding solutions through a material or spiritual means, right? Through, like I said, through great concentration, focus. Because the king is. Oh, I didn't even show the spread, because again, the Four of Diamonds have the king of spades and Pluto. And if you was here last week, one thing I stated about the king of spades, it can also drive you into states of insanity, depression, because there's perfection. At the heart of desire, there's also death and disappointment, unfortunately. Through I guess you can say all through things in life, right? Again, David Shands, like he said, that even through death, famine, destruction, there's a point of happiness, through his desire of work and to be the best through those desires. That's not the thing that he bases his happiness off of, you know, because if he was based his happiness solely off that desire of success and work, there's going to be points of disappointment. At the heart of desire, there is disappointment and death. And also, it sits Neptune as well, right? The rewards that we seek and sought or what's given is also through Uranus. I put that out there if you didn't know. That's why it's also good to, that's why I say it's good to watch or to know astrology. I had a great conversation this week. You're not going to be able to learn everything or all the astrological placements through the cards, but it will give you a base and help you understand why things are said or how those things are seen. Okay. So, at the heart of the Four of Diamonds, as you can see here, you have two fives. Okay. So, at the heart of fives, and I was saying the essence of happiness, I think was really important this week because at the heart of Four of Diamonds sometimes can be dissatisfaction. There's a need for pleasure, freedom, that comes with your fives. Freedom within relationships. They're pretty hard cards as far as marriage, but once they get it right, there's a sense of compromise. it can blossom in those areas. But if it doesn't, and the reason that it doesn't, because there's freedom that is sought or there's dissatisfaction in that area. And there can be dissatisfaction within work or any place where there are certain points of desires, but the application of work may be, or escapism could be an issue as well, right? So there needs to be discipline, understanding, like I said, of the spiritual essence of happiness or what it desires, and also the physical means of how to get those particular things by like I said, great focus, discipline, and attention to detail. But Venus, Neptune is also a point of exaltation, so there may be high expectations, for yourself or other people, with that energy as well. So there can be high expectations someone can have with their King of Spades. Like I said, um, the King of Spades is perfection sometimes, so the Four of Diamonds in itself may not settle as a person within relationships, or you just may not settle, for yourself. And what was interesting also, I know I'm kind of bouncing everyone everywhere, but I'm trying to give the best examples, um, as far as real life examples or applications or how you can kind of also see it. Another thing that Jay Hill said in this interview was he was dissatisfied, or he's not satisfied with just being in the room. You know, he it's a point of your desires, like I said, of his desire is to be wealthy. His desire is perfection, almost. His desire is to see himself at a point of life of completion. Like I said, he did say he's a Gemini. I think sometimes Geminis, like I said, we see those swings, ups and downs, and we're not satisfied with the now. Like I said, that's what Gina says a lot, right? Live with the now, right? Stay in the moment, be present. Like that's one thing that they spoke about is being satisfied with the present, with what you have, right? And that's one thing he say he's aware of where he is now, but it may not be satisfied. Do I have a screen in the screen? Oh, no, that may be my point. All right. Being satisfied with the present, with what you have. Progress is slow. Also, you can also, like I said, the Four of Diamonds. What may like they have two fives. There's a lot of freedom. Okay, is that me highlight? Yeah, it is. So there's two fives. There's a lot of freedom. But look here. There's a six of club in Mars, and you have another six here. And that's why I kind of said my progressive statement around the four of diamonds was kind of clickbait because there's progression and there's progression and changes, but then there's also a point of things where things will slow down. Because, like I said, without a solid foundation, there's no four diamonds, right? If there's no foundation spiritually, physically, mentally, so you have to slow down and make sure you get those physical and spiritual things, and also have the right people in your life as well. Partnerships is very important if they don't know for the four diamonds because of the twos right there. So without those of real spiritual or a real solid foundation, those progressive changes are really obsolete and it's not really going to go anywhere, right? Because the castle is built out of sand without no solid ground. You didn't let it marinate overnight, so it can truly build. Um, and so a lot of times you can see a four of diamonds be stuck in a career or stay at the job for a long time, right? But it's also kind of good for them, so they can. But also within that job, there can be sometimes maybe boredom. There can be restrictions that can happen within that job. So there's balance. It has to be sought, you know, as well. So they must adhere to a higher power always, which a lot of times they're very spiritual. The fives with the fives within them would make them unmanageable, possibly, and also the king in space being fixed, and it's a four, so they can possibly be fixed as well. But there's always a reminder of the importance of partnership. You know, that's why marriage probably could be difficult with them as well, because they have to, you know, really, because they want to seek freedom, but they're always reminded about, the importance of partnership and stability or seeking stability within their life. So they always witness God's true power, that they have in their life. They do have to bow down to a higher spiritual power. A lot of times with the King of Spades, like I said, that can also push to schizophrenia. Whenever you have a King of Spades, Four of Diamonds, that can be, like I said, they have to have an attention to detail, working with your five senses. I also kind of see that was important within that podcast. David Shands pointed to the fact that he wants to become more aware of his become more of a perfectionist, see things from an outer lens, from the eyesight of God, of looking down, right, and being able to understand it and taking all the elements of what's going on to understand the moment, right. But also, that I think that's also wanting. Sometimes we want to be God in certain situations. We want to know it all, be perfectionists. But sometimes we just got to bow down to the higher spirit of things. Sometimes are uncontrollable. Some things are unforeseen, especially in relationships. That dissatisfaction, wanting to be controlling within relationships, may not work out in your favor. It may not be best. All right. Um, so, like I said, they have to give in, because being perfectionist or holding on or wanting things to be your way, may not work out in the best with that four of diamonds. But it can work out maybe for your job to focus on, things that you want to create. Like I said, they are workers. They must not get by their beauty as well. A lot of times, like I say, they're beautiful people, card energy, lovable energy, but they cannot just rest upon that to get by in life as well. That's a big lesson for the four of diamonds. I remember I was talking to one I have for four of diamonds. I know I was telling her like she can sell, things that is pleasing to people, cakes or anything that people find pleasing, and have parties around these things, and people would buy, create a scene. So also a cube that is also the 52. I think Aquarius references it as your um God card, but at a particular place. Someone told me I give away too much. At a particular place on your life spread, right? There's going to be a place where you can see yourself as changing in life. It's kind of relatable, not to your God card, but to like your peak. Um, but for me, mine is the Eight of Hearts. For the Three of Diamonds is the Eight of Hearts. And the Eight of Hearts is creating, and as she was describing it, she was saying the Eight of Three of Diamonds around a certain age should change into a more of a public performer, someone that puts itself out in the public, that hosts parties, who creates a scene for people, creating an enjoyable time for people, like. And I was just telling her, I was like, I would love to have like a party by the beach, around something that um, for maybe something I'm selling, a product, or maybe even selling houses, a housewarming thing, something that helps or aids to people, or the gathering of people, and helping them or healing them in some type of way, or giving them information or knowledge as well, So the Eight of Hearts, it just creates a safe and lovable environment for people. That's what the Four of Diamonds can do, is create a safe and lovable environment for you, or anyone else, So that's also the energy. Much as the Four of Diamonds and the Eight of Hearts can be depressing, they also, like I said, have to appreciate where they are, in the time period, and accept the love. But there's a lot of betrayal that kind of happens here as well, within friends, relationships. Also, what burdens the Four of Diamonds is women. Sometimes also is relationships, and how much energy and love they put in those relationships also. So the relationships can also be a burden within that energy, or within that week, or um, sometimes the burden comes when they are married also. With the Queen of Hearts. So that can also be why they may escape or may not want to marry, because of the work that it takes to even hold up a household. You know. Um, so imagine a, let me see, air sign, maybe Four of Diamonds. May want peace. They may want to relax. Um, may Some of them want to be lazy. May not complete things. That wouldn't be good for them. Because they also have a lot of potential to make a lot of money. Before I get out of here, I do want to look at Kamala Harris, because last week I did a disservice to y'all. I apologize. Also, I was reading. I have the audio book of Lenore on the, what is it? Let me pronounce it properly. I've been trying to learn French, but I'm not the best. Lenormand Oracle cards is based upon a numerical base from the card deck. Okay, but there's only 36 cards. But she spoke on something that was important, as far as if you're watching this, you want to be a reader, you're trying to understand the cards for yourself, understand the concepts, or even reading other people, is understand that you will not be able to see it all, or know it all, or tell it all. So I'm not going to say I regret or I'm disappointed, but it was a big detail I was stuck on, and I don't know if I mentioned it. Actually, I have to go back and watch last week about Kamala Harris yearly. Okay, because something that kind of came up this week was very important for her, and that was fundraising. And I was like, dang, she had a nine of diamonds. Why didn't I talk? Why didn't I mention that? I thought I mentioned philanthropy. How old is she? So looking at the age of Kamala Harris, she's 59. And I didn't have this last week. Oh, I know what happened last week. I had a shortage in my wall plug. I have to look at that. I've been having this computer plugged up because I kind of changed locations from my living room, has been my storage location. So I'm in my bedroom now. But so I've been having this computer plugged in this wall. I think it shorted out my outlet. But anyways, wow. Is that the same energy of the Four of Diamonds and then Mercury, or does it play out differently? What do you mean by that question? Hi, I am still new to Cardology. I am a 3 of clubs displacing the 9 of clubs on my B day. Happy birthday. Hopefully everything goes well. 9 of clubs is also one of the clubs cards of dissatisfaction, disappointment, and what's and why does that relate to the 4 of diamonds? Because it relates to the Queen of Hearts. Okay, so the Queen of Hearts is around pleasing pleasures, pleasing other people, being helpful. I also call it the Mother Teresa card. It can be emotionally attached to things or emotionally attached to an idea. Or it's the 9 of clubs isn't Venus. Okay, so it's the things that we find pleasing, things that we want, the things that we are placing our values towards. So it's like you have something that you really want planned out, and it doesn't happen your way, right? So it's also a graduation of understanding and letting things go within that same essence. Or it can be a completion of something that you really desire as well. But either or, it will be a lesson around something ending or a completion in something. It depends on what's else in your birthday, what other cards you have. It would tell me what's happening or the theme for that whole year as well, or what you have planned out for that whole year. Not saying you're gonna be too disappointed for your birthday, love. Saying that as far as the year or something, you have something planned out, or there's a graduation for yourself throughout this year. Or understanding of something. So, but like I said, the attachments we have emotional attachments first around the ideas that we create in our heads. So that something that you have planned, something that you want, or something that you're manifesting, um, something that you want to, maybe do for yourself. So, um, so I believe the Lenore also uses 36 cards. I will check for you. Yeah, it does. Oh my God, check your wall. I had a dream about smoke coming from a wall, and my 9 of diamonds same day had a different dream. Okay, I'll do that. So the 9 of diamonds, Kamala Harris. So Kamala Harris is a 2 of clubs. And I think, okay, so it was going, so that's probably why I didn't see it, because she has a 9 of diamonds going to next year. Okay, that's why I didn't really see it. So she has a 9 of diamonds going to next year, which is around campaign, philanthropy, raising money, asking for money. Um, I believe I have stated that before. For the 9 of diamonds, you can find yourself as far as needful. So nines also 4 of diamonds. I attract all things that are needful is a slogan for the 4 of diamonds as well. Like I said, understanding spiritual and physical matter, right? Is I attract all things that are needful. Okay. I want you to remember that for the 4 of diamonds. I attract all things that are needful. And who has the and earlier what I remember what I said, the Uranus position is a lot of times where things are manifested or desires. And who has the card of I attract all things needful in Uranus? The 9 of diamonds. So I say that to say this: the 9 of diamonds is also one of those cards where I attract all things that are needful for me as well. Or I feel like I'm deserving of that. so, so money and raising money, philanthropy. But what the 9 of diamonds also knows that what comes in must goes out, and the money is actually to help other people as well. All right. So that's why it's also the card around philanthropy, around the card of helping, giving, and the flow of currency. All right. Is around the 9 of diamonds. I'm like, why didn't I see that? Maybe because that's for her next year. That's because her birthday is after the elections. But her ability to raise money, I guess, is it. I'm not gonna say I guess. I know is very important. And look who's raising the money: women. The Queen of Hearts, who led the race to raise the money for her women. Okay. I was saying there could be a split. Women was going to be important for her. And you can see that it did this week as well. I said the 4 of diamonds should give us more clarity as far as what's going to happen as far as Democrats or who they're going to pick as far as the head of state, the King of Spades. Okay. But that was a real important aspect. I didn't see that because she's actually 59 right now, so this is her spread at this particular moment. But she has the 4 of diamonds where Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter. Okay, so that's partnerships. Um, I'm looking at the time because I gotta go. The partnerships, people, your peers, work relationships, groups, seven of clubs, political organizations. The things that can hinder you is the eight of diamonds, but she has a four of diamonds, attracting all things that are needful. So that kind of counters the eight of diamonds. So this is why I said reading your whole spread or knowing your whole spread is important. I can't really look at your spread and know everything that's happening. You be like, oh, I have a four of diamonds here, but like, where is it at in your spread? Like, what's supporting it? What are the cards around it? What's vertical? It is a pattern. It's only 89. There's 89 patterns. I don't have everything memorized, so I need to know like the age. So, um, she also has the two of diamonds, partnerships, work relationships with the five of diamonds as well, right? The two of diamonds I can see is important around raising money or gaining money or around contracts. Also, in the seven of diamonds as well with the nine of hearts is around philanthropy. Um, if money fall in your pocket, you got to give it away. So with her having all this money, what's going to be important is what she's doing with it. People are going to be dissatisfied, maybe even with the use of it, right? Because, like I said, nines can be petty, so somebody's going to be petty, right? Um, that is for her birthday this year. I don't know which position she's in as far as the yearly. We're about how many days from her birthday? It's at the end of the month, 7, 8, 9, 10. So she's probably in somewhere around Uranus, around the Ten of Hearts or the Six of Clubs. I can probably say around the Ten of Hearts. So that's public success, social gatherings. That's the Michael Jackson card, the card of fame. That can bring fame. Other cards that can bring fame um, or attention is the ten of diamonds, ten of hearts, eight of diamonds, and those crown cards. So public, being on the public stage as well, being the head of, like as I said, the head of state is the queens and the kings. Okay, so or the government, working with the government, right? So head of state, queen of spades with the queen of hearts. Also around the Queen of Spades is social issues as well, of helping or being a mother. So I always say the government is supposed to help and heal and help other people. So that's being helpful and healing, and also around metaphysical sciences. So before I leave around metaphysical sciences, I also want to remind the four diamonds that also good as far as social groups as well, with the Ten of Clubs and Uranus. Okay, so they have a Ten of Clubs, Uranus, metaphysics, social groups, and those things are pretty dope for them. So I do have to go. I have to run, unfortunately. So next week is a Five of Diamonds week. All right. So the Five of Diamonds is around money changes, and so in relationship to the Nine of Diamonds. All right. So there's going to be a lot of talks around maybe around the financial atmosphere or maybe certain fears that can happen. But also, Five of Diamonds is also a card of psychic intuition, using your intuition or your abilities, but also having concrete ideas and standing on those concrete ideas as well, not leaving everything up to chance. Maybe even writing it down to get a clear connection around your intuition as well, right? Because they have the threes, all right. So we should, a lot of times with the five of diamonds, you see things that will give you clues what's going to take place in the future. Also, Five of Diamonds is in the sun position for the United States. So it's going to be very important, I think, speaking to the financial status of America next year, or going into this year after the presidential election. So, firefighter, seven of hearts, what's going on? I just met a firefighter yesterday. No problem. Appreciate y'all. See y'all next week. Peace. This is the card table where we bring you our lives. What do you bring to the table? And every week, you showing up is what you bring, and we appreciate it. You bring your examples of your life, your testimonies, and the things that you have found within the cards as well to help us to understand the science. So appreciate it, and we shall meet up next week here. See you.